Welcome to Bigfoot
and the Bunny.
This is a couple's journey into the mysterious,
the unknown, and the paranormal.
I'm your host, Chris Carr.
And I'm your host, Kristen Johnson.
Together we are Bigfoot and the Bunny. Welcome, listeners, to the Paranormal UK Radio Network. This is Chris Carr, and we wanted to let you know that we were unable to produce a live show for you this week due to technical difficulties. All of our Windows computers did a profound update, and our streaming software also updated, and the two didn't like each other. Before I go into some sort of conspiracy theory with Bill Gates trying to suppress our data, I would like to say that we will get through this and have a live show for you next week. However, I reached back into the Bigfoot and the Bunny archives and found a great interview with veteran paranormal investigator and author of the book The Secrets of Goatman's Bridge, Becky Vickers. We had a great time talking to Becky, and Becky has also been a radio host herself and at times asks us questions, and that gives you, the listener, an opportunity to learn more about Kristen and I and Bigfoot and the Bunny. Her story is very compelling, and I mean, talk about the cryptid of all cryptids. We're talking about a goat man, you know, that appears on a bridge. He's half man, half goat. That's pretty cool, right? So once that's done, I've also included a bit of one of our podcasts we do under the name Dark Horse Paranormal, which, by the way, you can find by searching for Dark Horse Paranormal under anywhere you get your podcasts to hear these things. And this is one where we communicate with a child spirit who goes by the name of Toby. And Toby is or was 7 years old, apparently. We've got some pretty compelling data for you in that as well. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. First up is our interview with Becky Vickers. We're loose here. We're loose as a goose.
That's right. Go with it.
We've got a great show tonight.
Mm-hmm.
We have an amazing person with us tonight, and I'm really psyched about this. I've actually wanted to have her on for quite a while.
Yes,
and I reached out, we got in touch, and we are thankful that she was willing to come on our humble show.
Oh, anytime.
We appreciate it.
So her name is Becky Vickers. Becky has been researching the paranormal for more than 40 years. As a young girl, researching the paranormal wasn't by choice. It is what she had to do to still communicate with her believed grandfather that passed away unexpectedly.
Becky brings her southern charm to ghost hunting. Her style and sometimes unusual techniques as well as experience make her a respected investigator in the paranormal world. She writes a weekly blog called Beck's Everyday Ghost Hunters and has been featured on Ghost Adventures, Halloween Special, Route 666, and My Ghost Stories, as well as featured in magazines and radios. She's the owner and tour guide of the original Goatman's Bridge Ghost Tours, founder and lead investigator of Behind Every Cloud is a Kindred Spirit, Ghost Hunters, and the author of an award-winning book and #1 bestseller on Amazon, The Secrets of Goatman's Bridge. She is also the former host of Bridging the Paranormal on kcoreradio.com.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hey.
Welcome.
How are you?
Yeah, that's a lot to read.
It is. And we broke it up like that. We're like, no one person is going to.
You could have just said some girl from Texas.
My family's from Texas, so there you go.
Are they? What
Yes.
part of Texas?
El Paso.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So my mother has the accent, and I actually have a story with this real quick. When I was in first grade, because I had grown up around the Texan accent, my parents got called into my school because I didn't say W right. I was saying W. I swear, that's the true story. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I butcher words all the time. It's terrible.
Well, we do too.
I think we
we
all
went to
do.
England is, so
Yeah.
we're parking our cars and we're doing all that kind of stuff. And,
Yeah.
yeah, Boston, so.
Boston.
Yeah.
Mhm.
See, to me, you guys sound funny. I
We
just
sound
sound
funny.
like normal.
Right.
Oh, we are funny.
We are, but
Funny.
I love
I'm
Boston, by the way.
used to the accent. So my mother calls me Kristen.
So, Becky, tell us, your bio indicated that you had a paranormal experience growing up, and it surrounded your grandfather, and it's kind of what got you going and these things. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, just like millions of people, I like to say no different. But I lost, someone really that was beloved to me that I thought hung the moon real suddenly. And I just couldn't let go. I refused to not be able to see him again, or, there had to be a way I could still connect with my grandfather. And man, it was just a snowball from there. I started reading and just constantly studying in my room with my door shut because I didn't really want my parents to know because, back some 40 years, which is dating me really bad right now. But, you didn't talk about
we
those
understand.
so open. So that kind of started it. I just couldn't let go, and I knew there had to be a way some way we could still communicate, and still doing it.
Oh, that's awesome. So what kind of things did you do to reach out?
Oh, well, back then we had like the little cassettes that you put in the old-timey push recorders.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go sit in the cemetery because I really didn't understand the premises that you could call on them at any time, at anywhere. I thought it had to be in the cemetery, That's where the dead people are.
Sure,
That's where
sure.
I need to be. So, just hanging out at the cemetery and then realizing the stuff that I'm capturing on my little cassette player was stuff that I knew I didn't hear at the time out there, voices and people talking back to me. So then that really sucked me in. And so, of course, with that comes the pictures and all the photography that you try to capture stuff. And it just started from there. Little bitty
That's
basic
great.
stuff.
Yeah, and those are the basics, and they're still like the best tools. I still think a recorder of any kind is still a better tool than a lot of the things that are marketed.
Sure.
Yeah, in ITC,
Did you get a hold of your grandfather?
Yes, I did.
You did?
I did. I had a lot of survivor's guilt. My grandfather died from a triple bypass.
Oh, goodness.
He made it through the surgery, and I was taking care of my brothers, and I was 16, so I was old enough to drive. And they called me from the hospital and said, hey, he did great. And I said, okay, I'll come up in the morning. And his heart just stopped at some point during the night. So I always felt very guilty that I didn't get to say goodbye and that I should have been there, and that whole thing that comes along with grieving.
Sure. Yes.
And, so it's just, I never really call on him a lot. Like a lot of people think, you call on people, your loved ones, to give you messages. I'm super, super weird about that. I'm very protective of my relationship with my grandfather in the afterlife. So I don't ask to speak to him a lot. Only like if I really need some guidance or something to be cleared up for me. I don't ask him to come in on my ghost tours or, hey, I call him Nan, so you'll hear me refer to him as Nan. Nan, show me this, Nan, do this. I just don't do that. But I did feel that about 5 years after he passed, that he came to my room one night and held my hand for a really long time, that I could feel the heat, when you hold hands, the heat from someone's hand.
Sure.
And as clear as I can see you guys, he said, I'm okay, and it's okay that you weren't there. And so, man, that was just like life-changing for me as far as having the guilt. So, man, it was just, I know other people experience that too. Once you have that interaction with the loved one, for a week, I could feel the warmth of his hand. And I always just thought he's just making sure that I am going to let go of this. And so he was with me for about a week. And then, and so I call on him every now and then. But
I can understand and appreciate that. Like that not being, the first person you're trying to get data from or anything, because it is a close personal relationship. My mom passed when I was 20, and I've had some interactions you could call paranormal, but it's nothing I would ever really want to call upon, on like an investigation or something. It's personal to me, so I totally understand where you're coming from.
Same as I. My father passed away 8 years ago, and it's going to actually be 9, and I try to get a hold of him, and it's just some reason I can't. So it really, really bothers me, and it is guilt. I understand what you're saying about the guilt. I wasn't there, and
it can be devastating. It can be,
It's, almost 9 years later, so it is devastating.
Yeah.
Chris
and see, you're still feeling it. You still feel the guilt of that, and I hate that for you because I've been there and I know what it's like.
Thank you.
But the one thing I do know that you need to know is that when your father does get in touch with you, and he will, and I just really feel like it's going to be a whole lot sooner than later. You're going through some stuff. When he does, it's because you're open at that time and you need it way more than you think you do. Like you may be wishing, oh, give me a sign, give me a sign. That's to him, that's just not important. You're strong enough to make it through whatever you're asking for. When he feels you need a little extra help, he's going to be there and he's going to let you know.
I hope so. Thank you.
Yeah. I did even the simplest stuff. When I first began, a lot of people asked me, how do I get a sign? How do I get a sign? Do I need to buy fancy equipment and all this kind of stuff? Heck, no, you don't. No, none of that. Put your money in your pocket. Do something simple like pick your favorite picture in your home and ask that they tilt that picture just a little bit, just make it off balance. Something so simple can give you such a strong message. So little stuff. People don't have to spend all that fancy money on fancy stuff.
Equipment, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We found in our experience, they can use anything. It really doesn't matter. Anything can be a tool of the paranormal, if you will. Although I like some of the other devices and the LEDs and the very noticeable, almost shocking reactions you can get from those kind of interactions. Anything works. Divining rods, people, you've been using them for centuries, They work.
Yeah.
I did a experiment with the fish tank, my fish tank here. Woo. And Chris heard it. But it was so far. The recorder was farther away from the fish tank. So all you could hear
you recorded it with the bubbles going.
The bubbles going, and it was a little bit down a little bit, the water was, so it made a lot of noise. I didn't feel it. I wanted to just experiment with it, and all you can hear is Kristen, like very, very, and they were talking and they kept saying Kristen, and it was very
really
odd, but we couldn't really hear what they were saying.
Yeah, we do all kinds of weird.
We experiments.
Oh yeah, doing the weird stuff that nobody else thinks of. That's the best stuff.
It really is. It is.
It's fun.
But, really think outside the box.
Absolutely. So how did this Goatman's Bridge come about? Tell us about that. I find the story just so intriguing, and I heard the story a few years ago, and I loved it. I really was psyched to get you on the show because I was like, I want to hear this from the best person possible, because this is great. It's just such a crazy thought, this Goatman and the.
Listen, there are so many stories to tell about the bridge. I live at Lake Dallas, and it's close to Lake Dallas, 10 minutes, and I had no idea about the bridge. I've lived here forever and I've never really known about it. And somebody finally said, hey, have you been down to that haunted bridge? And I'm like, what haunted bridge? And I ended up going down there by myself and just walking the woods with a EVP recorder, digital recorder. And wow, the EVPs that I got back were amazing of different voices and blah, blah, blah. And so then I just kind of dived in a little bit deeper and found out the story about Oscar, you know, the African-American goat farmer, and about all the satanic stuff that goes on, and that there actually was a town here with people that cross this bridge all the time.
Now, is there not really a town there now?
No.
Is it Old Alton? Is that the name of the town?
Mm-hmm. Yes. It actually was a town with like a little hotel, saloon, blacksmith, all of that kind of stuff. But there's no remnants of it at all. Everything was built on pier and beam. So maybe if you took a metal detector out, you could find some horseshoes and maybe some old nails. But as far as the buildings, there's nothing. There's just nothing.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Interesting. No, I didn't know that either.
Yeah. Well, come on down to Texas.
Yeah.
I have family down there. We're
ready.
should.
We're ready to go. We need a road trip. We talk
really
about the paranormal road trip a
Come
lot.
on.
So how did the legend start?
Well, a lot of people think that Oscar is this half man, half goat creature that everybody says that they've seen. And when I was writing the book, I did talk to several people who grew up in the area that believed that they had seen this half man, half goat creature. A couple of them said they'd seen it more than once. But I do not feel that Oscar, the gentleman that sells goats, is this half man, half goat figure. We do communicate with a spirit there named Oscar, but he's very friendly and very nice, and boy, he really talks and answer anything. But I do believe because of the darkness of the bridge with all the satanic stuff and all of that, that someone may have summoned a sayer, which is a mythical creature, half man, half goat. And so do I believe that there is one there? Yes, I do. I do believe that. And I think along with that just comes a lot of legends. And but the bridge is tied to so many, actual shootouts with Sam Bass. A famous outlaw back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's just so many children spirits. One of the things is the water was really, really bad at Old Alton, where the town built around, and it was a major cattle crossing. So a lot of the kids would play in the creek, and unfortunately, cows coming across the creek all the time, they pee and poop in the creek, and it's yucky, and the children would play in that and become sick. And
yeah,
so there's
you don't want to be up that creek.
Yeah,
no.
Not a good thing.
And the children would be sick. Oh, wow. That's interesting. I didn't realize that. The children
I didn't realize that either.
The feces and stuff of the cow. The idea, the satyr and, this goat like figure, of course, brings to mind images of like Baphomet, and what's his name? Alpheus Levy, I think it is, who brought that famous painting of the Baphomet kind of, devil goat person with the boots, the whole thing. And that's the immediate thing. Do you think that's the draw for the Satanists or the cults that come in there?
Yeah.
Because of the idea of the Goatman? We see that in our area in a couple places, not because of Goatman, but, it seems like haunted areas sometimes seem to draw cults, if you will,
right,
to them, or at least alleged cults. So...
Well, and you throw in something with a little dark history like our bridge has, a lot of the KKK stuff associated with the bridge. And if you're looking to draw some more negativity or, some evil forces, this is a lot of good stuff to draw from. So we see the satanic stuff all the time. And
it's still going on?
I'm sorry?
Is it still going on? Do you believe it's still going on, the cults?
Oh, yeah. Just as recent as this October. The pentagrams are drawn, and I don't know a lot about the significance of those other than I know if the points are up, then that's to bring in evil, and it's supposed to even resemble maybe like what you're talking about, Chris, is the goat head. The horns are up with the 2 points, and then the beard and all of this kind of crazy stuff. But definitely it still is practiced.
I think goats get kind of a bad rap between Hollywood and the occult. community, because goats, they can be cute. If you see videos
cute.
of like baby goats, like they're adorable. But as soon as you think of Goatman's Bridge, I'm picturing this like really evil,
Baphomet with the-
mofo-looking guy
red
like
eyes.
walking down with the horns and the.
Could you please tell us a little bit about the story of Oscar?
Okay, so the story of Oscar was there was a goat farmer, an African American, and he sold goats. And the townspeople of Alton really, really liked Oscar. And, he was a regular visitor into the town. And but back then, KKK was very prevalent. And so this wasn't settling too well that we would have a successful African American gentleman in the town.
Right.
So they decided to take care of things for themselves. And one night they waited for him on the old Alton Bridge and put a noose around his neck and threw him over. They left him there, came back later, nothing was there but the noose. So this kind of scared them, thinking that he might be able to identify who did this. And so they went to Oscar's house where his wife and children were and murdered his wife and children and burnt down the house.
That's horrifying. I mean,
that's more than I knew.
And I guess that was to like draw him to see if he would come out, basically to see his family, but he never
Assuming
came
that
back.
He got out of it somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
And a lot of the people that I interviewed said growing up, there was this lure about the bridge that if you would park on the bridge with your car and turn the lights off and honk 3 times, that Goatman would come up and grab you or, attack your car and all of this kind of stuff. And a couple of the people that I interviewed that I do believe their stories because they tell them with such detail of actually going to the bridge back in the old days with the car roll down the window thing in the 50s, that one of the gentlemen said that he had proof that the car was still in the barn because I guess he had kept this car from childhood that had the scratches on it where something had attacked them one night, and it was, to him, it was the Goatman.
Wow.
He said, what do you do? I don't know. I wasn't there, but you have to believe people, even though it sounds super crazy. We
believe you.
Even the belief in a legend can bring life into that legend, I think.
Absolutely.
I think the collective unconscious can look at that, and it can almost form.
Especially
if it wasn't there, which isn't to say it wasn't there, right? And the satanic influence,
right? Which is going
just
to create
energy
more
manipulation,
chaos.
positive, negative, whatever it is certainly a lot of activity for one area.
Oh, it has so much. We've seen shadows. We've gotten a lot of people on the tour get scratched.
Oh, wow.
And so we have a lot of video, a lot of photos of, and it's mostly women. We do believe that there is a very evil spirit named Steve. His actual name is David Curtis. That was the Grand Dragon for the KKK. And you guys, this guy has got to be the nastiest human being that ever has walked this earth. Writing the book, I often tell the tour people that I really had to take a break because I struggled getting through the chapter talking about him.
I believe it.
Yeah, he raped like 4 women, his wives. One, oh my gosh, she ended up dying, and the actual death certificate says cannibalism.
Oh my goodness.
Where he had just chewed her skin off. I mean, this guy was living, breathing, and I do believe we encounter him a lot out at the bridge.
Wow.
Yeah.
He said his name is Steve, but goes by another name.
Oh, his name is Davison. I'm sorry.
It's Curtis. David Curtis, right?
Yes, but he goes by Steve.
But he goes by Steve. That's weird, but I believe you.
And it's kind of one of those portal areas where you get other kind of entities. Yeah. Maybe do you get UFO sightings and things of that nature as well?
Well, here, I haven't gotten any UFO sightings. But I will tell you, because your show is Bigfoot and the Bunny. Oh my gosh. We do have a photo you guys need to check out that we had what we believed was a Bigfoot.
No kidding.
Oh no, it's so cool. We knew nothing, or I knew nothing about Bigfoot, but now I'm very interested after talking to people. But I go out during the daytime and check the trails to make sure everything is good before we take a tour. And I'm taking photos, and we get this ape-like creature in the day, and it's big. And so I show it to this guy that I know that does a lot of Bigfoot stuff.
Cryptid.
And he was like, oh my God, it's a primitive or primate. I can't remember which it is because I'm not sure. But he said, because you saw it in the day, it's not nocturnal. But I mean, he was all over. We've got to get out here and investigate because the photo was so impressive to him. But I mean, You can see like the chest, the hairy arms, and
I'd love to see that.
Yeah,
not that we're
actually so we can put that up.
Actually squatchers, because we're not squatchers. The name doesn't actually come from us being cryptozoologists, although in the last year, I got to say, we've kind of gotten a lot more into it. It's just kind of a cute story behind it, and we like the way it sounds.
Stories.
And it rolls, but we don't go squatching. We are paranormal researchers, and we do that. But I've never seen a Bigfoot myself. I used to be really skeptical of them, but I've seen some kind of convincing stuff, and I've definitely heard some great stories, and the possibility is certainly there.
Absolutely.
Certainly there's something in your picture, right?
Oh yeah, I wish I had
not a Bigfoot. What is it? It's got to be.
Well,
something.
I believe in ghosts, so
exactly.
Certainly there could be a Bigfoot. But I guess the guy was just saying because it's so thick with woods and because of the creek, so it's a good water source, easy to hide from humans. It's a crazy photo. I had no idea. I
can't wait to see it.
And I'm like, what the hell is that?
Right.
That sounds great. So you do get other things in there. You've got the cults. You've got the Goatman. And people honk their horn 3 times. Sometimes people knock on the bridge, I think, too, right? 3 times. They bang on the bridge. And they hopefully see him. I've seen a couple of photos out there.
I was going to say, what do they see when they do that? When they tell you, what do they see? Do they see the Goatman with the red eyes? And
when who sees like
when people have sightings,
just encounters
on the bridge and the experience of it? Yes.
Yeah, the one gentleman that I was talking about that said he had the car that had marks on it still. He said that it had big horns and the bottom part was like a goat with the little hooves, but that it had a body part of a man. And he said, but the head was not. Just the chest area and arms. The feet were hooves. And he said it crawled. It really didn't even stay upright. He said
that's freaky.
Yeah. But that it had horns and, like we're talking about, the face of a goat and that sort of thing. He said it was really hairy with like a goat beard. Some of the goats have the long beards and stuff.
Looks like they got a goatee. A goat tea.
Wow.
We'll be here all week, folks.
Yeah. So they see, a lot of people see that. There's a lot of belief that there are a lot of sacrifices that go on along with all of this, like you guys were talking about. Man, you get an area with so much negativity and it just draws negativity, right? So one thing leads to another. There is an area that we don't go in because you will see, unfortunately, dogs and cats on trees. And,
oh, geez.
Yeah, things that weren't a natural, progression of life with other animals. I mean, they're hanging from the trees. It's not a good place to be.
That's terrible.
I did hear a rumor in a video, and I was doing some research on this, that nobody will sell cats in that area. Pet stores and things of that nature don't exist, even though it's not a real town, so it kind of explains that. But there is a prevalence, or maybe it's Craigslist or whatever, people get kittens and they sacrifice them.
Yeah.
So it's a very common occurrence to hang or mutilate the
so
bodies of the
sad.
cats in particular.
It is very sad.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah, and we've even had the local police tell us that that exactly what you're talking about is that there are a lot of cats that go missing, and they hardly ever see cats in the area, but they will see some dogs. And that's kind of normal too. Dogs wander around, but cats do as well. But yeah, I've heard that too. I don't know that I could say there's more cats out there than dogs or any of that.
Sure.
And it's not like there's a ton of them, but when you run across one, something bad has happened.
Yeah, you see the animal bones or whatever it is you see. Yeah. Wow, that's frightening.
Can't believe it's still going on.
No. And I've seen a pentagram drawn with candles and a squirrel sacrifice. And guys, it was like they had sucked all the blood out of the squirrel and skinned it and had the intestines and stuff, all the innards of the body on one side of the circle, and the squirrel was on the other. It was the craziest thing. I don't know, but it scared the crap out of me.
Absolutely. They sacrificed it. That's terrible.
To have that much abuse going on, I have to think that there is a group of people.
Absolutely.
It's a legit thing. It isn't just the kind of like one guy you went to high school with. It was a little weird. But, that guy could have been me, but, I know I never abused animals. I just have unusual interests. I like ghosts and stuff and other things. But certainly would never hurt an animal. And I hate hearing that. But to hear that it's like a consistent thing makes me think of the large groups and things I hear rumored about in certain other portal locations, like Freetown Forest in Massachusetts, like Spider Gates Cemetery, which we've explored heavily.
Extensively.
Extensively.
Our book is going to be on it.
Bell Witch Cave. Yeah, I don't know. Not like we don't have time on our hands with the COVID. Right. I got some time, but it still isn't done. Bell Witch Cave in Tennessee. Right. Another place I've heard about gatherings. And I don't know. It's creepy. You hear about these things and then you hear a lot of denial that they don't exist. And then you talk to survivors of these things and they have really elaborate and detailed stories. And you go, wow, there just seemed to be some kind of clandestine thing out there.
Yeah. So have you guys ever been to a location that you've had all this like negativity, like the satanic stuff and and sort of stuff? We go to Spider Gates, and we've done some podcasts on it. We also do besides Bigfoot and the Bunny, we do a podcast called Dark Horse Paranormal Podcast, and we put a lot of our data into that. Some of them are interviews, some are interviews and data, some of them are just data. There's kind of a mixed bag there, but they're not as regular as our weekly show. And there are a couple of places that are definitely portal places. And it's like I say about the legend, like there's a legend about a certain place we go. And I don't want to talk about ourselves too much. That's necessarily not why we had you on. Well, I want to know.
But, there's this rumor of like a teenage boy that hung himself there. So we come into contact and per, our EVPs and spirit box data, which is really clear and spooky. There was a child spirit named Toby there. And when he asked what happened, we get voices that say Toby hung himself. Toby was hung. Toby, it's repeated. Yeah, we don't know what the blackfish meant. But it repeats it over and over. And go, wow, that's what the legend is. But there's no proof of it that the child was hung. Yet you wonder, is it people's belief in it? People go to that particular cemetery every day. Does that create something? Do spirits step into a role? We wonder.
Right. We think that because of that, there is satanic cults that are affiliated with it, or we still think they are, and we think, like we said, that it makes more of the chaos and everything. So because they keep going, they keep doing it, and they keep making the chaotic energy.
But we haven't actually witnessed that. But it is rumored. I mean, there's like a rock in there that people call the altar, and there's certain things.
We've seen.
It's well known. So in this area,
we did have an altar that we didn't know what it was. I found it one day again, just walking around before a tour, and it was woven probably 5-foot diameter circle, woven twigs that had been burnt, and it had black mesh all through it, and it had a board through the center. And so every time I gave a tour, I'd like, if anybody knows what this is, let me know, because I don't know, but I do know I don't like the energy of it at all. Mm-mm. And I wouldn't let anybody touch it. And one night, we had a young lady, very meek and quiet, and she told me that it was a sacrifice altar that someone had used to summon something dark there. And she was a Wiccan, and she said that's how she knew. But that is no longer there. Somebody has torn it down. It stayed there for years, 2 or 3 years anyway. Wow. And of all the people, I think I had one young teenager touched it, because I would preach, we don't know the intent of this, the negativity that surrounds it. It could transfer to you.
Sure.
And the one kid that did touch it had a wreck going home that night from the tour.
Oh, jeez.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So, I think there is something to that, man. You don't know what the intent of those things are, and don't play around with it.
No.
Yeah, it would seem like our thoughts are energy in some way, shape, or form. And I think they can be collected. I believe that, and if it's enough negative stuff, you don't want to be anywhere near it.
No.
Especially if you don't know what you're doing, too, as well. So
Exactly. Yeah. That's why people always warn about dabbling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's understandable. It's understandable why people would.
It's
too,
curiosity.
Sure.
Curiosity.
Sure. Or curious animals, most people.
Yeah.
So, what is going on with the bridge now? You run a tour. You were doing that. Are you still doing that now? Do you do the tours today, or?
We with COVID, we are not doing the tours right now. We did do small groups through October, and we did all the mask and the social distancing and things like that. And so we had a really good time. We caught lots of good photos of one of the things is the dark shadows down in the woods, but the shadows have more to do with Native Americans than they do like a dark entity or any of the Oscar lure or the townspeople. It has to do with the land. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times we see the shadows darting, and so it was pretty active this year.
Wow.
Yeah, that Native American land, I'll tell you, there's definitely something there, right? We know that too, and we can talk about that. But tell us about that area. What was there tribal lands at one time?
Even for Texas, even back in the early 1800s, which to me is not just a super long time ago. I mean, we still had the trading going on. They would have Indians come to Old Alton to trade furs and for cattle and horse and all of this kind of stuff. So there was even still some battles between the white men and Indians, early 1820s and 30s. Sure. The buffalo, they would bring the buffalo. So there's a lot tied to the area as far as Indians that date back that recent, but even further before the town ever built there. It was just wide open spaces. Now it's getting very commercialized. As our area grows, there's a lot more commercialized stuff around it. But back then, I mean, the Indians, it was their home too. So
sure.
I think when we're out walking around, they're watching us the whole time.
I believe that too.
What are you doing here? It has nothing to do with the town. It has nothing. This is my land. And why are you here?
Is that the kind of things you hear on your EVPs? Like, what kind of data do you get that supports the Native American presence?
Well, we actually haven't had any EVPs that tells, like a tribe name or anything like that. We've really gotten most of our information from psychics. We've had a couple of psychics that we put a lot of faith in that said, oh, yeah, they're laying on the branches and they're darting. This is what you're seeing, because they're very curious why you're here. Why do you keep coming through their spot, their woods? And what we're walking through is an old wagon trail that used to be a road. And so, they're just curious. But as far as having actual evidence, we've never caught like an EVP that sounded Native American. But to be quite honest, I've not really attempted to do that.
Oh, there you go.
We are mostly focused when we're doing EVPs on the townspeople because we feel like we know a lot of them or we always want to talk to the children. But now that you said it, now I don't know why.
That's it. We're coming down. We're going to do this.
That's it.
We're on
Chris
it.
and I will be there.
We're on it.
We'll help
We
you
would
with
love
that.
to do that.
We love Native American history and
Absolutely.
really American history. It was
Well,
very interesting
how
to
would you
us.
suggest that I would go about? Like, what could I talk about or do to encourage the spirits to communicate with me as far as Native Americans?
Well, you certainly could have things like offerings. I mean, there's the, like everybody knows tobacco offerings and stuff like that. But I think it's just the asking directly, asking about it or asking them, research the property to see what tribes were there and ask if, try to, in your best interpretation of those Native American words, because they probably pronounce them all differently than the way we say it today, ask if they are there, if of such and such a tribe, that kind of thing, and just see what you get. We did some investigations in a Native American burial ground up our way, and that was fun. That was really good, and we both felt the presence, and we got some pretty great data from doing that. But we didn't do anything that was too, I don't know, I'll use the word cliche, but we didn't bring a tomahawk or anything, it wasn't like that. We just simply did it like any other investigation, but we do feel it was those people that were speaking to us.
I do like the offering idea. That's a great idea. And I just hope and pray they can understand what I'm saying.
we said the same thing when we go out and we do that. We want to know if is what they're saying, if it's in English or their native tongue. So it's kind of hard, but we do it, and I
think it's about the intent.
Right.
Oh, I agree.
The intent of the question, it gives you the answer. I mean, when I mentioned earlier that they can use anything to communicate with you, I do mean that quite literally. I've had experiences with my Kindle, not a paranormal tool, and
I believe that.
I've been there for that.
Besides the fish tank, other things in a house, you don't need a special tool. They will use whatever works.
Oh, I agree. I think people are always looking for the next high-tech thing to communicate with, when really it's something as simple as leaving a pen on a piece of paper.
Sure.
True. Yes.
You don't. Again, like we talked earlier, the fancy stuff is nice. It's very fun to watch visually when the lights all light up and all of this fun stuff. But don't overlook the small stuff as far as trying to get communication back. And what if I even did a peace offering with food? You know what I mean? Like bread.
Food, tobacco.
Yeah, I mean, something I'm trying to think outside the box, because that's where my brain goes.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Things they traded in them, traded. Maybe you want to use goat meat. I don't know.
No,
I'm not sure if that's a great idea on Goatman's Bridge. I don't know.
Haunt me forever, the spirits out there.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't listen to him.
Don't listen to me at all. No, that's only wrong on that. No, leave the goat meat at home.
That was bad, man. That was bad. It was good, but it was bad.
Well, there's the cheese as well, right?
What's the most haunted place up in your guys' area?
Oh, we've got lots of them.
We have Lizzie Borden's house that's not too far away from us. We've got a lot of places.
Forest.
The Freetown Forest is a big thing because that is one portal that just it attracts everything you can imagine. Every crypto, not every, but a lot of the crypto, a lot of UFO, all kinds of paranormal things.
Sure, absolutely. And also the satanic cults and the murder of Mary Lou Arruda, tied to a tree and killed. And I mean, all that stuff really happened. There's reasons for it.
Back in the 70s, they have a book on it.
Stuff we grew up on. There are a lot of places. They call it the Bridgewater Triangle up here. There's a certain area within Massachusetts, certain cluster of towns where there seems to be a more pronounced effect of paranormal, if you will. But I do find that the surrounding areas also are quite haunted.
Oh,
The Conjuring house, for example, right? Everyone knows the Conjuring
tell me,
house.
have you guys been there?
We actually have not been there.
No.
It just recently was bought by someone who's a paranormal investigator, and it's starting to become available to the public and that kind of thing.
But then the COVID
But
hit.
I know.
We've talked to Andrea Perron before, who grew up there as the daughter, one of the daughters in the Conjuring movie, and tells the real story. She wrote her books on it that tell the real story of the Conjuring house. But I haven't been there. But it's not far from us at all. It's in Rhode Island.
Definitely, that's a bucket list item
where
for
I am
me.
right now. So
That's cool. You should come up. Let us know.
Girl, don't tempt me. You have no idea. I'll book a plane tomorrow, and I'm on my way.
When this COVID thing's over,
Yes.
we're gonna just do what we got to do. Paranormal road trips, everything. You're
I'm on
welcome to come stay with us. We'll take you out
you
there.
don't even know me. I'm telling you. You mention something like that, I'll be calling you later going, hey, where's your house? Because I need a room to stay, or book me a hotel.
Not a problem. Come stay at our house. Yep.
What's your weather like up right now?
It's
Are
21.
you guys getting snow?
No, that was Saturday. That was really bad.
we got a little snow Saturday and some ice, and it's cold here. It's
It's
not Texas, that's for sure.
No, it feels like 19 right now.
Our summers are wonderful, though. New England has wonderful summers. We have some beautiful beaches in the summer that are great to visit and that kind of thing.
And
wintertime, it's a little dark.
You guys have the cranberry things, like
Yes,
the cranberry ponds where they float.
The bogs, yeah.
the bogs.
Oh my gosh, they're gorgeous.
Cranberries are good.
We've watched them harvest them before with the big machines and stuff in it. It's weird to watch because my kids and I were, like I said, we were watching them, and the frogs in the pond come with it in the machine. I swear. We're like, oh my God, the poor frogs. What are they doing? But yeah, they harvest it all. Yeah, with the machine. It's weird.
Oh, I'm looking at that in a whole different light right now.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
We also have blueberry farms, and they're very beautiful.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
no, it is nice. It's really pretty up here in the summer and the fall. The spring is a little wet. We get a lot of rain, but the wintertime is great if you like skiing. We want to learn how to ski and get into that. Snowboard, we have those areas too, and that's fun. And, the mountains are beautiful if you go north of like where we live. But, it is New England. It's 4 seasons.
I would rather be with you in Texas right now, believe me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Kristen cannot stand the cold, so
I don't like
she's ready to go. You think you're ready to go? Kristen's ready to go. Turn that around, and she'll be there tomorrow.
30 here in Texas, we're on lockdown.
Oh, I can just imagine.
Yeah, we get one snowflake, all hell breaks loose. The stores shut down. We gotta get all the supplies from oh my Lord, we go bananas here in Texas.
I bet.
Oh no, snow. We're all gonna die.
It does seem to be a big to-do. Although when you guys do get it, it's like an ice storm more than a snowstorm. So everything literally is slippery.
Yes,
a lot of times here it's not quite ice. So, you're driving into snow, might have a lot of it, but it's like that fluffy snow. It's slippery, but not, hard ice like you get in the South.
Yeah.
Yeah, which would throw anybody.
You guys get like 5 foot of snow and stuff.
Yeah, sometimes.
Y'all get major snow.
We do get a bit.
I don't like it.
But
The spirits
Moving
of
on.
we stay warm. We're all right. The spirits keep us company. We get through the winter.
That's right.
What was it like working with Ghost Adventures?
Well, it was a very unique experience. They're very fun. Zach is very much his biggest fan, I would say. He's a nice guy. He's a nice guy, but I think Zach is about Zach. Billy and Jay and all of them are just like you see on TV. They're very funny. They were constantly cutting up. It took us 4 days to film. And guys, we filmed in July in Texas, where even at night, it was still in the hundreds.
Oh my God, no.
They were melting.
I can imagine.
October special. So it was a very unique experience. We actually had a lot of things happen. Of course, a lot of the things that you saw on TV we weren't allowed to see till the end. So I feel, without saying too much, is it is made for TV.
Mm-hmm.
So
We've heard this story as well.
that they put on TV, I'm like, oh hell no, that did not happen. That did not go down like that.
We've heard the stories, yes.
But they did capture some stuff that was pretty impressive. But the glowing eyes that they caught, we see those all the time.
No kidding.
The growl that Ashley, that's a real deal. I've heard it once. I never ever want to hear it again because I don't use the word evil lightly, but that is a very demonic sound. I'm a country girl. I know the sounds of the woods. I know frogs. I know critters. This is not like anything I've ever heard in my life. I've only heard it once.
Scared the shit crap out of me.
That was great timing.
It was awesome timing.
I've only heard it once, she says,
Wow.
and a dog barks.
Right? Yeah. But yeah, the growl that they caught was real. The thing with Ashley was, I was there. The whole possession thing with her, that was real. Y'all, it was really, really
No
bad.
kidding. Possession as well.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, and we don't put down any of the shows. I mean, we understand, I think, that there's a certain entertainment factor there.
Yeah.
Maybe not take it so seriously. I mean, you have to be on every week and present data. And if you don't, then,
You don't have a show.
we didn't have anything. Right. So
Well,
it's got to be, we live in a country of entertainment. So I understand. And I'm not saying this is fake or this is not real. I'm not one of those people that dwells on it. I think it's an interesting show, and I'm sure they're all good investigators and started off with a great intent, for sure.
Well, they're definitely interested in the dark stuff. I mean, I say they. Zach really wants to talk about a lot of the dark stuff. When the bridge does have a lot of dark history and a lot of spirits there that aren't friendly, but we also have good ones, and they're really just not interested in any of that positivity. They want to go for the dark side. But I don't want to knock the show. It was fun. They just called me out of the blue and like, hey, will you do our Halloween special? And I'm not going to lie, I happy danced all over my couch.
I bet you did.
We would too.
You would too.
Yes, I will. So it was a very fun experience, and Zach's a nice enough guy, but the other people are just so fun, just constantly cutting up and doing fun stuff. So
Fooling around,
cool
goofing around. Yeah, we like that.
Yeah.
Got to have a little bit of comedy and, that while you're doing this dark stuff.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to take a break every now and then from even the dark stuff. You get so wrapped up it can even become like obsessive, just a constant wanting to hear an EVP or searching everything, and you really have to step back and realize, this is taking over. I've got to take a break for a second and not be. I've had people call me that their marriages are on the rock because the wife is constantly walking around the house with a recorder and cameras, and the husband just can't take it. And he's like, do something.
Help me, please.
Look, dude, I don't know what to tell you. Grab your camera and join her.
There you go.
Exactly. That's why we do the stuff together. It's fun for us. We enjoy it. Since we both enjoy it, then it's a good time. You don't mind. I love the name of this. Behind every cloud is a kindred spirit, or Bex, Ghost Hunters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's
are you guys active? Are you actively investigating? And what kind of things have you guys been up to?
Always. We just got back from Bollinger, Texas, and we did an abandoned hotel there, the Old Park Hotel, which is very, very active. That was very fun. We went and did an investigation at a fort outside of Austin over the summer. Even right before COVID hit super hard, we did road trip up to Waverly Hills and Bobby Mackey's.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was pretty awesome. And, we've got some fun stuff planned for the new year if this COVID lifts and we can get to it.
Absolutely.
Understandable.
I think we'll be there. I think we'll be there sometime in the spring.
Yeah.
By next summer.
I'm
think,
hoping.
you know.
I like road trips anyway, so it doesn't bother me to road trip.
Right on. Well, we're looking forward to it. We're going to be doing a whole lot of stuff to make up for this year because this year is kind of sucked.
Put a damper on.
It's been a terrible year, a very sucky year.
It has.
Really has.
Exactly. Sucky. I like that word. I use it a lot. Recently, I have been.
Yeah, so it's been grim.
Yeah. Would you guys have something fun planned?
Just
Well,
most of our time, really. I think on, I would love to do a road trip. We keep talking about it, but we haven't planned it out yet.
this year we were supposed to go to Colorado, and
Yep.
I love Colorado.
We're going to be out in Colorado, see our friend Clarissa, and be part of a paranormal show out there and all that. That didn't happen. Of course, everything has just gotten worse. So a lot of things didn't really happen, but, come next year. We'll get back out there.
The spirits are going to be so active because we're not out there talking to them all the time and trying to get them to communicate. They're going to be going, "Where's our people?"
Well, my theory is that a lot of people figure out their houses are
I was just going to say that.
Yes.
There you go.
And a lot of people are haunted.
Wow.
True.
They are.
It's
They
true.
are.
Yep. Absolutely.
So
actually
here's a
do,
personal
collect
question
data
for you
about
guys. Do you use your equipment in your house? Do you try to communicate with spirits and stuff in your house?
Yes.
We do. We don't try. We do. It's actually something we've kind of been backing off of because it's gotten to be a little too much at times, and if they're really endless
My house
essence
is extremely haunted. I have a little sign here that says "Home Sweet Haunted Home."
Yep,
It
that
was
is
built
there
in
for a reason.
1740. It's an old farmhouse, and we actually had a dirt road and everything. And
I'm dying right now.
I told you, you're going to have to come here. Stay here for a little while with us.
Oh my gosh.
We'll go see
That's
Lizzie
so
Borden
cool.
and take you to the Freetown Forest, Bridgewater
I'm in.
Triangle.
Yeah,
You would love my house.
we're fairly haunted people, anyway. So it seems.
Yeah. You have to see where
You
Chris
guys
lives,
live in my world then.
and you
we
live
do.
in ours. So this is wonderful.
Yes, we
It's a
do.
great
Oh my
friendship.
gosh.
But
How fun.
where Chris lives, we've seen it's basically, I call it the paranormal highway. I've seen so many things where he lives outside his house. I mean,
I have a deck out front. We sit
Yeah.
on the deck a lot of times. And I'm not going to lie, sometimes sangria is involved. It happens. But we have been witness to more things
I
around this place.
can't believe
too.
the things that we've seen. There was toys outside talking, lighting up. Somebody put some toys out, and they were out there
days
for a week
later,
already.
after being quiet. They were
Right.
just 3
And
o'clock
it
in
was
the morning. We're
so
out there
bad that
having a drink, and then they start talking just rather suddenly with no one
and
around.
one just lights
Stuff
up.
like that. Yeah.
Do you know who it
Always fun.
is? Do you think you know who the spirits are?
No, these
And this residence, not so much. I only moved here this summer. But like I said, we're a little haunted, we're into some stuff. We're taking remote viewing classes right now, which is really fun for us and has been real awakening.
Mhm.
And man, I've had the craziest dreams since I started taking these classes, and they've been great. We've gotten great feedback from them, both of us. We're open to things.
The thing is that the spirits know that we're open to them, I think.
Absolutely.
In my opinion. So they know they could speak with us.
Absolutely. It's like opening a door to a big room in a party that you don't know anybody yet. But they know
That's true.
Excellent.
But they know you walked in, right?
Right,
Mhm.
right.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
excellent.
Yeah, and it is the way to be. Like if you're an investigator out there, and I swear it's not that skeptical people don't get evidence or data. They do. But it seems so hard earned. I remember working so hard to get an EVP and like, oh my God, will this ever happen? And as time progressed and a more familiarity, and I can't even define exactly what that is, like putting your energy into it, like in a small sentence.
Yeah.
But there is something to it. And over time it seems to work. And, data
gets
comes a
stronger,
lot
right? The
easier.
more
you
It gets a
do it.
lot stronger.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
I
it
agree.
does.
Yeah.
It is almost like somebody opens a door and it's like, whoa,
No
they're
doubt.
here.
Said yeah.
It's like oh, I don't know you yet, but I will, you know.
Right.
Exactly.
Let's have a drink.
We have literally left offerings of, we've gotten nips, and we've done that. We've left offerings of brandy and things with the tobacco, and let's have a drink.
Or
Absolutely.
We call, like you're talking about, you've just not lived at your resident very long. We call them travelers, like just spirits that are outside. You don't know who you're really talking to yet, but you do know somebody's there. Like on the bridge, we feel like there's a lot of travelers, that residual energies may be there just from traveling across the bridge or across down the dirt road or the wagon trail. You know, there's still residual energies. So you could, but the toys going off, I'm in.
Oh, yeah, there's always something.
Another funny story to this. The neighbors actually heard it as well because it just wouldn't stop. This thing didn't stop for like 2 weeks. And I'm not kidding. We're like, wow, what is Energizer batteries? What's happening here?
Yeah.
So it blew, it went into the street. I don't know if a kid kicked it, but the neighbors started running the thing over.
No.
Yeah, they were parking and they were backing up on it.
It doesn't speak anymore. It was like a speak and spell.
It's flattened like a,
there were a few things
device now.
Oh no.
That's not the only thing.
So it's getting to them as well. We understand that.
Oh my gosh.
This idea that there's like a trickster spirit here because things move, and we've actually seen things move, and Chris has been touched, and one of them touched her butt one night.
They grabbed my butt.
They grabbed her butt.
I don't like to.
We're sitting outside. She's like,
I don't like to
be just
touched.
happen here.
Yep.
You know, that kind
Chris
of thing.
is like, what? No, I don't like to be touched, and I think they know that, but for some reason, this one just really is handsy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not like relentless. It's not negative feeling like you're talking with the Goatman's Bridge.
Yeah. What's the name of your book called?
The book is called The Secrets of Goatman's Bridge. You can get it on Amazon. Right now, if anybody wants to DM me through Facebook or Twitter or any of those, I'll be glad to mail out. Shipping is free. A signed copy for anybody for Christmas. You know, I'll send it direct and make it out to whomever they like if they're interested in that.
That's wonderful. That's so nice of you.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're so sweet.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Also, where can people find you, and what kind of social media do you have going on?
All the social media sites, Facebook, Beck's Ghost Hunters. The easiest is my blog. You could just call up becksghosthunters.com. A Twitter, Instagram, all of those. So just any of that. I'm just starting like a TikTok. I don't know how that's going to go. My daughter convinced me I need to do TikTok, and I don't know about that yet.
My son did as well for me. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm clueless, but okay.
That's what I said.
I got a dog. We're going to post some videos of the dog.
There's some cool paranormal stuff out there on the TikTok. Sites. Yeah, excellent. So we really appreciate it, and we appreciate you coming on. And,
oh my gosh, you were so fun. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, this has been great.
We'd love to have you come on
Boston.
again.
I'm coming up.
Hey,
so.
Let us know.
Coming down. It's cold up here. You don't want to come up now, dude.
No, I need the sun to shine.
Yes, I agree. I'm with you. In fact, I think I'm going to go down with you.
Come on. Girl, give me a call when you're down here. We'll go to the bridge.
It's like tomorrow morning. Becky, remember that radio interview?
I'm in. Guys, come down.
We would love to. We'd love to. I love the Legends of the Bridge, and it's so awesome. And I think the idea of a Goatman is just spooky as heck. So
my God, it's crazy, scary for me. So
there's a lot of scary stuff down there for sure. There's no doubt about it. It has a lot to offer the paranormal world.
That's wonderful.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Becky Vickers. We will be in touch soon.
Yes. Yeah. Guys, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
You too. Enjoy the holidays. And we'll talk again.
Stay safe, you and your family and your friends.
Yeah, you
please.
guys too. And
thank
I'm sorry for your friend, the loss.
Thank you so much.
And watch for your dad.
Yes. Thank you. It's been a hard 8 years. He's not helping, so he's not coming through. I don't know what
Not
to do.
Yet. He will.
Thank you.
All right, bye, guys. Thank you for having
All
me.
right. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Good night.
spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain, and the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again.
So, Kristen and I have been very busy with our show, Bigfoot and the Bunny, which we'll tell you more about in a little bit, but we want to tell you about where we've been investigating. And it's something we call
The Undisclosed Location.
And the reason we call it the Undisclosed Location is because it quite literally has a sign in front of it that says no paranormal investigations. However,
we went out there. It took us over an hour to get out there and everything, and we didn't realize that the sign was there. And it was, during the middle of the day.
That's right. It was a daytime thing we were doing anyways. It wasn't at night. And I imagine they just don't really want people and teams coming there at night. And you can tell that kids party down there. There's a lot of broken bottles.
Broken glass.
It is a cemetery, if I didn't say that already. And, of course, everywhere we go, we're very respectful. And people do visit this place often. It is open to the public during the day. It has a rather notorious set of legends behind it, but I'm not going to get too into that because, it's kind of uncouth to be investigating something that the people actually say, please do not investigate. But,
right, we didn't get permission.
However, we would have let it go and just kept our data and never said a thing.
Absolutely.
Except that it's turned into quite
a rabbit hole.
Quite a rabbit hole, quite a puzzle where we're trying to fit the pieces together. And it gets deeper and deeper. Now that we've been a couple of times putting together this data, it seems like we have the souls of children trapped in there and
begging us to let them go, and
not to use the D word like some shows do, but it does seem a little demonic, like something outside of it, like keeping them trapped.
When we first walked in there, it was so serene. We took off our shoes. Yeah. It was absolutely gorgeous, but it was very serene, and the only thing that I felt was there was something very evil that was surrounding the outside of the cemetery.
In particular, the left
corner, and I really couldn't put it together at the moment I was there, because we went back another time, which is for a different podcast. Right,
and we were drawn to that left corner, so it's kind of where we kind of started heading off. Pretty much at the front of the, quote unquote, no investigation. And you turned to me and you said, "Did you hear that?"
That's right.
And I said, "What, the boar?"
I said, "No." The woman laughing maniacally.
Right. You were talking about a woman laughing maniacally. Yeah. And I had literally just heard what a boar would sound like a snorting and like the ruffling in the woods, like further out past the cemetery in the woods, like that, burrowing sound. And I just took that to be a boar, which, by the way, I found out we don't have boars in the state.
They're not indigenous to our state.
They're not indigenous to our state, nope. And you had heard a woman laughing maniacally.
I did, and I heard rustling in the trees and the branches and everything, and at the same time, it was really bizarre. And that was before we started recording.
Right.
So that was our first paranormal.
You guys have to excuse me. I'm getting over my 15th cold of the season. It seems like I've been sick for weeks, but
We wonder if it's something that has to do with this too.
oh yeah, it's trying to kill me.
Right?
I'm getting too close to the truth. Yeah, they're worse than the government.
Oh, that was awesome.
So,
Yeah, don't get me started on that government.
right? And there is this kind of, I don't know, secret squirrel mystery thing that's going on here. I mean, there are certain legends, a set of them based around this particular location. And, we're trying not to be uncool. We do not want to drive people there.
Not at all. We don't recommend you even go there.
But we do feel like it's a little scary, and we don't know if, for instance, that, maybe certain cults still occupy this place and,
Right.
commit certain practices now. I mean, if you know us and you've been following the Dark Horse Paranormal podcast, I have an occult background, and, I'm very open to the idea of cults and rituals and such things. But this is actually a little spooky because there do seem to be
Trapped souls. They're children. There's other souls there that keep saying, help me. There's something, and I feel it, some kind of evil presence.
something nefarious.
Yes, around the entire cemetery that's keeping them in. And I can feel it, that it's whatever it is, it's in the woods.
It does seem rather evil, and they do seem rather trapped. And I think tonight's episode, we're going to center around the clips we've got of one certain child soul, and his name is Toby.
Poor Toby.
And we actually were shaken up by some of these clips that we got.
We've been there twice, and we've got the same data twice the whole time.
Which is to say, the first time we went, we felt like we were communicating with the Toby, and we asked Toby, "How old are you?" First, Kristen asked, and the reply came back. I think twice. It says 7.
7.
It's 7.
Three times he says 7.
Then I said, "Toby, how old are you?" in the same clip, because we didn't hear it at the time. The spirit box is running, it's just going a million miles an hour, and you miss stuff, and you play it back and you go, "Whoa!" But I thought I would ask the same question, because we do that. We parrot questions sometimes as kind of a technique,
right?
For validation. And sure as shit, there it is. 7. It comes back again.
7, 7. He says,
like the other times. So that happened, and then we went back.
And asked again to make sure for validation the second time. And the same question. And we asked, Toby, how old are you? And he said 7. Chris asked, how old are you, Toby? 7. I mean...
There it was. Does it get better than that? So that kind of set up the next clip we're going to play for you guys. So we're going to do that right now. Here it comes.
Toby, how old are you?
How old are you? So there you hear it. You hear Toby's all around, and it'd probably be a good idea to wear
headphones
to hear that even more clearly. But what I'm going to do for you right now is slow it down by, say, 7%. All right, there's no effects on this. This is raw audio. This is just how it is, but I'm going to slow the audio down. It's going to lower the pitch a little bit by 7%, just so you can hear it a little bit more clearly. I find the 7% is nice. It helps make out some of the little bits and pieces that we get with this ITC work, especially with the spirit box scanning on a fast rate.
Really fast. Flips.
Yeah, and you get little bits, and they go by so fast you don't notice it in real time. That 90% of the time you miss it in real time. But all right, here it is, slowed down by 7%.
Toby, how old are you?
How old are you? So about a month later, we returned to the
Undisclosed Location.
And we made a couple of new friends that were also walking around and trying to more or less day investigate like we were.
Courtney and Justine.
Yep, and they sat in for a spirit box session that we did. And I actually posted the entire spirit box session up on our SoundCloud, which if you go to soundcloud.com and search for Dark Horse Paranormal, you'll find it. And there's all sorts of clips on there from the podcast, from our Bigfoot and the Bunny show, and some things that aren't on either. So do check that out. But at some point in this session, I asked Toby, how old are you? And this is what we got.
Toby, can you tell us how old you are again? Seven.
Twice.
Dear.
Now we're going to slow it down by 7% for you.
Toby, can you tell us how old you are again? Seven.
Twice.
Dear.
Now, when you actually listen to that last clip, Toby says he's 7 4 times.
4 times.
At first, we thought it was only 2, but
I actually only heard it once in real time, but it was 4 times when we played it back. The next clip we're going to do is a bit longer, and is pretty much all the communications we had with Toby during that particular Spirit Box session with Courtney and Justine.
right.
Again, is posted out on SoundCloud. What I did a little differently with this clip is I used a tool called noise reduction. And what I did is I sampled the noise of the static and removed it. And what that did is it opened up some of the other things we couldn't hear.
Right.
And much to our surprise, there was a lot of things there.
Yeah, and it had a lot to do with Toby.
Yeah, we actually hear Toby whimpering. And,
Crying.
This is a very sad clip.
It's heart-wrenching.
You'll hear us ask the question again, how old are you? And there's more to it. And you're going to hear him say, where's mom? Which is really just awful. And he's basically sobbing. When I start the clip, you'll hear him crying.
Yes, he's sobbing. Yeah.
In the background. And that's this next clip. So check this out.
Toby, are you here?
Toby, can you tell us how old you are again? Seven.
Twice.
Dear. I didn't hear the first one.
We did. Yeah. Toby, what's your last name?
Why are you guys here? I thought I heard leave. Leave. I did it again.
That's what I heard.
It's to leave. Does that mean you're leaving or we should leave? Scared. You're scared to leave.
Scared to leave.
Why are you scared to leave?
So that just blew our minds. I couldn't even believe it. I remember I was at work and you were telling me about it.
Yeah, I was going through it, and I couldn't believe I could hear him say, "Where's Mom?" And he's sobbing through the whole clip, and I messaged Chris at work, and I said, you got to listen to this, but don't listen to it now because I'm crying and you're going to cry too if you hear it.
I don't know if I outright cried, but I was definitely choked up, and I really feel for this Toby because, it just made everything so much more real for us.
Yes, definitely.
I'm so glad I learned how to do the noise reduction, and we tried it on this because we've actually gone back now in some of our other clips and found some other things we didn't hear before.
Right.
So that's worked out pretty well. And, certainly this is a really sad case of a trapped soul who is scared to leave.
Yep.
That's what they're saying at the end of that.
Right.
But the most climatic moment, and I'll play it again, was...
Where's Mom?
Where's Mom? Where's Mom?
So yes, that was very heart-wrenching to us, and I'm sure to you listeners as well. There's one thing about this undisclosed location that we've just been obsessed with it, and back
Gone
and
down
forth, rabbit holes
after rabbit hole, and it became a day in, day out thing.
Right, and it got to be so much where we began to channel it in our houses.
Right, we could channel... with the spirit box sessions in your house and in my house.
Right.
And in the next clip, to set it up a little bit or give you some background, we're full on rabbit holing at this point, and we're able to do these sessions. And Kristen isn't even here. We did the session at my house. She calls me on the phone.
I've got
her
phone.
on speakerphone.
Yep.
And we're so close to this. We just simply started asking questions about Toby. Now, I don't know that we're talking to the entity that we feel resides in the
Undisclosed location, yes.
Right. Or if we're just hearing spirits, which I tend to think, telling us about it. But because we're so close to it, we're actually able to get the legit answers. During this time frame, and things have changed a little bit because we had to make it change.
Yes.
We were able to get into what we're going to call the AM band, or the evil AM band, that we're going to talk about probably in the next podcast.
Yes.
But there'll be more. Yeah, we'll explain this a little bit better. But for now, suffice to say, we could basically get stuff about Toby at our houses and more or less talk to some of the entities in the location. I think this is spirits talking to us. And
again, to reiterate, this is over the phone now.
Right. And we're not at the place. So we're at my house. Kristen's called me on the phone.
I'm at my house. Yep.
And we do a session. And this is a clip from that.
How did Toby die?
Who killed Toby? Son.
Why? Why was Toby killed?
So there's an awful lot of information in that little bit of clip, right, Chris?
Yes, there is.
While we haven't decided on every word, there are so many words in just a few seconds. Yeah. There's a lot we definitely agree on, and I'm sure you as a listener were able to pick up. Certainly, when Kristen asked, how did Toby die? Mm-hmm. It comes back and says, dead. He's dead in tree. He's dead, Toby. Toby is dead. And you just hear the spirit saying, dead, 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 over. And I'm sure you heard that. Then I asked, who killed Toby? And then we hear, Toby. Blackfish and hung. Toby was hung. Blackfish. And I don't know what it is with the blackfish.
So we looked up blackfish.
Correct.
And you found it to be what, in
the 1680s, 1690s, the term blackfish came about in New England for saltwater fish, which is tautog and black sea bass. It could be an expression for that. That's the origins of that term. But we've wondered if maybe, back then in those days, if it meant something else, like perhaps gutting a fish, or to say blackfished, maybe that was something different, some kind of terminology that we don't use now.
Right, yeah.
But we clearly hear blackfish and hung, and then you hear blackfish again. Toby was hung. There was also, I think, when you first asked, how did Toby die? At the end of that, it also said something like, it goes, dead, in a tree, he's dead. Toby is dead. And then I hear, in it, shot. Double shot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what happened to this kid?
This poor kid, I don't know. All I know is
he's dead.
Yeah.
That's what we know.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Feels
And,
so
I
bad.
shouldn't laugh about after, that previous clip, but, good God, I've never gotten responses like this. This is ridiculous. Then we asked...
I asked, why was Toby killed?
Oh, right. All right.
And what we think happened was, we think that a spirit is basically speaking to us, but we went too fast with our questions. And we think that maybe it was telling us, when I first asked, how did Toby die? We're maybe like after Chris had said, who killed Toby? That's what they were, telling us.
There was more of a delay, which is common when you're trying to get EVPs. You want to wait 30 seconds for the reply before you ask another question. And we might have been moving a little too quick.
And like Chris said, there's so much information in these clips that they're, stuff that they give us that we should have waited at least a few minutes,
Right.
We know
right.
better now.
And, but at the end of that clip, it sounds to me like the spirits are talking about you.
Yes.
Saying you're, Kristen, upset home. It mentions your son's name.
Yes,
Jake.
Twice. Jake.
And it says, because, happy son Jake, 7 or 11. And I think that's referring to your maternal instincts, because you have an 11-year-old and you're a mom. And, I think they just know that you're upset about the Toby thing on a level that is pretty deep, and obviously I'm upset too, and I have a son and a daughter, so a bit older, but I'm upset, but you have this maternal instincts, and I think they recognize that, and that's what they're talking about at the end of that. So I'm going to play it again. I want the listener to me to, take in what we just said and
right.
what we think it says, and hear this one more time.
How did Toby die?
Who killed Toby? Son.
Why? Why was Toby killed?
So an interesting thing happened, and we were able to catch an EVP on our first trip to
The Undisclosed Location.
That's right. And this is a pretty good story, and one of the more paranormal things that actually has happened to me, and you, I believe, as well.
Me as well, yes.
We were, we had been recording for a while and doing some things and walking around, and we were walking toward the outer wall. Kristen had the Tascam DR5 with a headset plugged in.
A noise-canceling headset.
Correct. So basically everything you were hearing was through the recorder.
Now, it's a small cemetery, so we left the spirit box and a recorder in the middle of it as we walked down.
That's right. There's a certain area there we call the middle that, has some legends attached to it as well. But we were walking toward the outer wall together, and she's listening to all the sounds of the woods and different things through her headset, and I'm walking with her, and we're asking questions. And very suddenly we heard, what? Hello. We heard somebody yell,
echoey.
hello, like very loudly, and it scared the crap out of me. Enough that I jumped up on the wall of the outer wall and looked, because it seemed to come from the gates, being a key word, like there was somebody outside maybe calling us out.
Right, to see if we were there, if somebody was there, right.
Exactly. And I thought for sure there was, and you jumped, and we both jumped at the same time. We both heard it. There was nobody there. Nope, not a soul. And the really weird...
See, when you jump on the wall, you could see over the gate.
I could see the gates. And the really weird part was that the hello didn't make any of the recordings.
No, not at all.
No. And so I then jumped off the wall, and I jumped onto there was a rock, like that had fallen off the wall. Jumped onto that, and it made a click sound. It made you jump again.
Yes.
Because you heard it very loudly through the DR5. It sounded like huge. And it just kind of, I jumped on this rock and made a click sound. And then, in that same moment, we caught this EVP.
Awesome EVP.
Right. And what you're going to hear is, it sounds like maybe an early American gentleman.
It's Old English, yes.
Seems like an Old English sound, as I would expect it to sound, I guess.
Sure.
And he says, "Rock 'twas old."
But that thing is... That's me.
This scared the shit out of me. So that was a great EVP.
Yes, it was. That was so cool.
I mean, you can literally hear his Old English accent, since this is one of the oldest burial grounds or cemeteries.
Certainly in the area. I think the first burial in there was one of the Potter family members. Ooh, hint, hint, wink, wink. Back in 1740. And there are a few different families buried in there. But, let's hear that again. I'm going to slow it down, maybe?
Yes, let's slow it down.
In case you missed it the first time. Rock 'twas old. That's all we have for the Paranormal UK Radio Network this week. Stay healthy, keep it spooky. We'll talk to you next week, and thank you for listening. Take care out there.